Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and I'm here today at the Rock Island Auction Company taking a look at a Freeman's patent revolver. This is a revolver from the United States Civil War, one of the rarer types of what would be called a secondary Marshall revolver, which is to say a revolver that was used in the war but not actually purchased directly by the United States government. So this was patented in 1862 by a guy named Austin Freeman. And what he came up with was a gun that was kind of inspired by some others aesthetic-wise, but he had a really interesting and unique cylinder removal system. That's what he patented, and that's what really made his gun unique. So let me go ahead and show it to you. So at a basic level, the Freeman is really kind of a typical Army style pistol. It's 44 caliber, 7.5-inch barrel, 6 shots. It is, of course, muzzle loading, percussion cap fired, so you've got a little cutout in the rear shield here so that you can cap the cylinder. Single action only. We've got a half cock notch and a full cock notch. Sights are a groove in the top of the receiver and a little semicircular front sight. We got some markings up on the top of the frame here. Freeman's patent, 1862. And then these were actually manufactured by a guy named William Hoard at what he called Hoard's Armory in Watertown, New York. He did also make rifles, long guns for the U.S. military. He made something like 12,800 rifled muskets, in addition to 2,000 of these pistols for Freeman. Now, what makes this unique and pretty cool is the cylinder removal mechanism. So there's a little latch here, which is locked in place. And on the other side, we have the other side of the latch, and we have this flat spring. There is a button right here that I can push in, and that is going to lift up the spring such that I can push the latch forward. Now, I actually need it to go a little farther forward. I'm not sure if this spring, is slightly longer than it needs to be, but I actually need to push the latch just a bit farther under it. When I look at pictures of others of these, this spring appears to be a little bit shorter, and so I think this may be a replacement spring that was cut slightly long. Now, once we've got this latch all the way forward, the latch and the axis and the cylinder all come out as a single unit there. So now you can see what this button does. It's actually not really a slider, it's actually integral to the cylinder axis pin here. And there's this cutout in the frame to accommodate it, with the flat spring sitting right there to make sure that things lock in place. This is to ensure that this latch doesn't come forward unintentionally. You have to actually push in on this little button right here to push the spring up and out of the way. It doesn't have its own spring tension. It is tensioned by the flat spring on the other side. So this leaves the remainder of our Freeman revolver. We've got a solid frame, which is a nice strong design choice. We've got the hand right in there that's going to move up, and that's going to cause the cylinder to index. We have our stop here on the bottom. So when the hammer is fully cocked, this stop lifts up and locks the cylinder in place. That stays in place as long as you're holding the trigger. When you go and put the gun at half cock, this drops down to allow the hand to lift and rotate the cylinder, one chamber. The cylinder itself is fairly normal, partially recessed percussion cap nipples in there. It is serialized. This is number 1400, and that's also on the frame. See it right down there. Total production was 2,000, like I said, all sold to maybe state governments and definitely private individuals. So, got the cutouts here for the hand to act in to rotate the cylinder, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Now, some people will look at this and say that the Freeman revolver was inspired by the Star or a copy of the Star. Well, it's definitely not a copy. I can certainly see why there would be some talk of the Freeman being inspired by the design of the Star. The frame shape, the grip shape is in fact very similar. However, mechanically there's really nothing between the two except that they're both single action percussion revolvers. You just saw the disassembly mechanism of the Freeman. The Star is completely different. It actually has a hinged frame. It has a recessed hand in here, a lot of very different elements. So Freeman definitely wasn't stealing anything from Star beyond just the shape of a revolver grip. And that's not exactly something that's a big deal to copy. So, despite the fact that there were no sales specifically to the United States government, this was purchased privately and probably by some state forces, and so these guns did show up in various battles through the Civil War. After production ceased on this, the patent would actually be purchased by Rogers and Spencer, and this design would evolve into the Rogers and Spencer pistol, which was actually purchased by the military. So, an interesting developmental step and a really cool revolver in its own right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to find out more about Rock Island, you can take a look at the description text below, where you'll find a link to their YouTube channel and also a link to their Instagram page. Thanks for watching.